Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today we're going to take a look inside The Day Is Ours, The Battle of Princeton, 1777. This is a game designed by John Heim and published by War Diary magazine through Lock and Load Publishing. This is another one of those imprints that we're getting from War Diary magazine. They continue to put these out every few months, and it's great to see. Lock and Load is doing the printing for them, but they're going out there and getting these games and bringing them in-house, putting them under the War Diary umbrella. This is a Ziploc game, so there's no back of the box to read. So let's dive right into the components and see what you get. We got our rules, player aid cards, our maps, and our counters. So let's set up the map and take a closer look at the game. And here's a look at the map that comes with the game. It is composed of 6 separate map sections that you'll put together, overlap them slightly, and you'll create the overall map itself. And we've got, as you can see, a lot of different terrain here. We've got some steep hecksides, slopes, swamps, hills, orchards, roads, bridges, forest, and the city of Princeton itself. So you've got, or at that time it would probably be really a town, but you've got a good assortment of terrain and you're going to be dealing with in this battle, which is going to be really cool. You also have Kingston up in the top right. You'll also be able to add other things to the map like fieldworks and redoubt counters, things like that. So you'll add to the terrain even more based on how you deploy your troops and how you're going to prepare for battle. Now we'll take a look at the player aids that come with the game. This is the counter breakdown tables and morale. This will give you a breakdown of the counter so you can understand what all parts of the counter are. Here you have the different units that are in the game. You have the different fieldworks and morale markers you'll be using, as well as the morale for both US and the Crown. Next, we have the terrain effects chart, which gives you a graphical depiction of all the different types of terrain on the map. There are movement costs, as well as any notes that are applicable to them. Next, we have the turn record tracks, which give you all the tracks you'll be using for each of the different scenarios in the game. Then we have the fire combat results table, along with the terrain modifiers for fire combat and terrain modifiers for defensive fire. And lastly, we have the melee combat results table, along with the terrain modifiers for melee combat. Next, we'll take a look at the counter sheets that come with the game. These are nicely done thick counters, and they're also pre-rounded, so that's pretty awesome. Really easy, just punch them out, get them right on the table, no preparation or anything. They're nice and colorful too. Each of the factions will have distinct look. They'll also have a flag up the top right of the counter, which will tell you which nationality it is. The only thing I'm noticing just at looking at these counters right off the bat that just jumps out at me is these counter values are going to be kind of difficult to read. I don't know if it looks that way on camera, but if you look at the artillery here and the artillery here, pretty easy to read those values, 352, 152, 252, so on. But when you look at these lighter brown units, you look at the dark blue and the light blue up there, as well as the green, those numbers blend in a little too much. There's not enough contrast. I'm looking at it here from about 1.5 feet, 2 feet away, and I have to concentrate a little harder than I would like to be able to read the numbers. So that's something that jumps out at me right away. Hopefully it won't be too much of a distraction when playing the game. And on the next sheet, we have the British and Hessian forces, along with the remainder of the administrative counters at the bottom. And again, the first thing that jumps out at me is, wow, those numbers are very difficult to read, especially with the British. All that red and those white, it just does not show enough contrast. It's kind of similar with the Hessians, as you see down here, but not as bad. But man, that red is just a little too bright and not enough contrast make those numbers pop easily enough to read from a distance. These look like they might be a little more problematic than the Patriot forces because even the artillery is difficult to read. Next, we'll take a look at the rules. This is a 35-page full-color rulebook. On the inside of the front cover, we have the table of contents as well as a listing of all the scenarios. On the next page, we have a breakdown of all the units that are in the game. And we have the map board, the unit counters, and then the sequence of play starts on page 4. Get into movement, leaders, combat, all the steps for those explained to you, nicely laid out. Then we have the special rules for The Day Is Ours. You have bridge planking, bridge burning, Stony Brook Creek, General Knox, fieldworks, morale, and route check. Then we get into the scenarios on page 14. So as you can see, not a lot of rules. It looks like it'd be pretty easy to grok. Get to the historical battle of Princeton scenario on page 14. You get your order of battle for both the Patriots as well as the British forces. Then we have the Battle of Princeton parts 1 and 2 scenario. This one will go until 1 p.m. The other one goes till 11:45. Then we have the Battle of Princeton What If scenario. And this one will go to 2:30 p.m. Then we have Second Trenton, the Battle of Assunpink Creek scenario. You have your order of battle for that. Then you have the Battle of Princeton, which might have been scenario, which is another what if, and your order of battle. Then we are at the credits and at the back of the rule book. And that is a look at everything you get inside of The Day Is Ours, the Battle of Princeton 1777. This is a game designed by John Heim and published by War Diary magazine in association with Lock and Load Publishing. Like I said before, it's great to see War Diary continuing to go out and bring games in under their own umbrella, putting their own imprint on them as they print through Lock and Load Publishing. But you get these distinct War Diary magazine titles. Now remember, you don't get a game in every issue of the magazine, but you do get one free game from them, either one of theirs that's already got the War Diary imprint, or you can get one of the Battles on Demand from Lock and Load Publishing. So it's a fantastic deal. You get a great magazine and you get a free game. This could be one of them if you are into the American War for Independence, which is, there's not a lot of games out there on that subject. So it's great to see, especially the smaller games like this. It's great to see those out there. And this is one that I'm really curious to check out. Like I said, it looks really fantastic. The only drawback I find to it are the counters. And I'm going to see when I put them on the table if they really are a distraction or if it's something I'm going to be able to adapt to. But that jumps out at me right away. And that's unfortunate because something like that could be problematic when you're playing. Like I said, I won't know until I do play, but that's the first thing that did jump out at me as kind of a big negative. So hopefully it's not a problem, but we will only know when we get the game on the table to play. But I really am looking forward to playing this because Revolutionary War games definitely interesting because that is the birth of our nation. So it's a big subject of interest for everybody, I think. Well, I hope that helps you guys out if you've been curious about this one. You have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.